Evening folks, again another model that I've dug out due to this tidy up, and this is one model I should have reviewed in full but never got round to it because I was never that enthusiastic about the set and the model, although there are some decent things about the model and the set, but the overall performance and the build is pretty, well, I won't say dire, that's a bit strong, but it's not good. This was about a 5-hour build from the 25 model Mountain Rally set from about 18 months ago. The beauty of this set compared to the latest incarnation of that set, which is the off-road truck set, whatever it is, with the new motor which is so ungainly. This has got the standard sort of 3-6 volt motor setup, so that's more versatile. The problem with the model, it does only have the 3 volt battery box, and therefore it's not a very good performer. It does have a fair bit of reduction gearing for a modern set, as you can see, and let's hope this works because things have got a bit close to the real wheel of late. Gormless me dropped it again, but there you go. It's not too bad, but when you're running it along the floor, it's you have to do with a bit more speed. I know it's a rally car and it wouldn't be as fast as a race car on a track, a tarmac track, but I'd like a bit more than this. The looks of the model though are quite modern, perhaps a bit Citroen rally car-y looking perhaps. Nice little basic touches like the mirrors, made out from these knuckle parts very nicely, very simply, but do work and look quite effective. But as you can appreciate from the rather dusty parts now, you can see the curves and the angles required to get that right was very, very awkward. And as I say, it took 5 hours. The clearance for the rear wheels is very, very close, and it does touch occasionally. Not a bad looking car. These new, it's probably the first set that had these fabric pieces, and it's very difficult to fit it with nuts and bolts because it just bunches up when you try and tighten them, as you can see there. The worst thing though, I could not get the gear train to work properly, and I had to do my own thing with spacers, but it was all from the set, so I got round it that way. However, far worse than the gear train issues of it being a bit tight or too lanky or generally just not working very efficiently was the motor sticking up above the roof line. As you can see, we've got a bit of a bulge in the fabric roof, which is not very nice to look at. It was worse than that. I changed it slightly inside and lowered the motor slightly, but not enough really, and it was like all this effort to get the angles right, and the end result was, I thought, pretty lame really. And it's one of the few models that I've just lost heart with once it was built to do a video on it, even though those of you who've seen my videos, whether I like a model or not, or a set or not, it's good to show off the set or the model, whether it's good or bad or somewhere in between. As I say, it ain't a bad looking vehicle. It does have some of the flexible metal strips, narrow and standard, which makes it easier to do the front, and we do have steering but no steering wheel, and of course it uses plastic flange plates. Again, that was probably one of the first incarnations of those in a set, or introductions of those in a set, I suppose. So from a set point of view, it was always okay because of the motor and the battery box and some of the other parts like the wheels and tyres, and of course there's a lot of narrow strips in the set, but to get those angles, oh, such an effort really. And of course it does mean bending some narrow strips, the metal ones, more than necessary. It's not quite as in a good shape as it used to be, of course. It has been lying around for a time. So that's another one. I think there's one more to come of the ones in the stash. One that's I built it by mistake, to be honest, but we'll come on to that next.